Welcome to Season 2 of the Moving On Podcast. I'm Jay Norman.
Hi, I'm Jessie Norman. We sure have missed you guys. And if you're new around here, welcome.
And babe, you got anything you want to talk about?
Oh, I bet we will think of something.
We always do. Hi, stranger.
Hi.
Did you remember how to turn it on?
No, not at all. If all of this is going right, it's a small miracle.
Babe, how come you hadn't had a podcast for about 2 months or however
I
long
don't
it's
know.
been?
What is wrong with you?
It is 100% your fault.
What is
I'm
your
gonna say,
big fat problem?
well, it's just that. Just life.
I know, but I feel so nervous right now.
Like it's the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And B, I can't remember B.
That's not a good start. We got the A and we didn't get B. Okay.
I think B was, what was B? Dadgummit. I had it right there.
Well, there's just been a lot of things going on.
What was my A?
I already forgot that.
Okay.
I think we should take notes from now on. Today's looking like.
We need a teleprompter.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
We sure do. But we have had busy times, different times, but I don't know. It seems like as much as we've been home and much as we've stayed home, we've still been
Yes.
busier.
Yeah.
And
sure.
on the farm, we've been really, really busy for the last 2 or 3 months, really, and still rolling along strong
Right.
now. And I guess from the last podcast, we finished up getting the corn fertilized and then worked our way to wheat harvest and got that done and had a safe, productive harvest. Not the best, but productive.
Mm-hmm.
And then been irrigating corn. And
Jay has a mistress. Her name is Pivot. He goes and checks on her at 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
only when she calls or texts, though.
She seems very nice. I remembered my B.
What was it?
I feel different. I feel it just feels like a clear season 2. And I don't remember the people that recorded season 1.
Yeah.
I feel like we were really refined in the fire that is pandemic that we've never walked through as individuals or a couple or a family. Right. Nervous, but excited.
Well, and I think, too, taking a break probably broke a certain pattern maybe of the way we were doing things and what we were talking about, because I honestly have no clue other than I started talking about the farm because that's where we always started.
Yeah.
Past that, I really don't remember a whole lot.
We've gotten really, really nice and positive feedback about the last few episodes, but it almost makes me cringe because I remember I was in panic mode, so I can't imagine any articulate words coming from my face. But all of our listeners are like the kindest people on earth, so I don't know why we're ever nervous, but so it is. Well,
and one thing, too, I want to talk about is you've got the equipment now to have a guest that can call in and not have to be sitting here. And we thought about doing that for this, but decided we would just record one for both of us. I guess for sure we need a little practice before we take on a guest.
We're really excited about that because now if you're in Washington or Alaska or Scotland, we can interview you. And that is going to open the doors. We really had to focus in on local guests or who could get here on this couch.
Which it is fun to have somebody here for sure.
Oh, and we won't stop that.
No.
We won't discriminate against locals.
No.
We believe in local. Right, babe?
That is right.
Okay. And so, that's something coming up. But we wanted to get our feet back under us, and we have been gone for so long. All we have to do is go back over what we've been doing because it was not boring.
No, and
at any moment.
And I think for everybody, it was such a change of life, and for us it was, and it ran us through a whole nother set of difficulties and things that we could dust up about, which made for lots of content.
I forgot about those.
Yeah, we just had maybe 1 or 2 in the last.
Did you put those on the notes?
No, not at all. Good. Sure didn't.
I don't want to talk. These are the things I don't want to talk about.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about a certain virus that I will not mention. I do
You
not.
have said pandemic, though. I didn't think you were going to do that. Yes.
I said I wasn't going to.
Yeah.
And I do not want to talk about the things that cause us to be completely in dissension with each other as a nation, as a world.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to talk about our dust-ups. I do want to say, though, that I have completely matched up the correlation between how the enemy really likes for me and you to be at odds with one another, because that's when our family starts to crumble, and that's when you and I can't make a difference.
Right.
And I see that happening to our nation, is like when our nation starts to really kind of rally around each other and go to the Lord in prayer and lock arms and become unified. I feel like that is when things are thrown in the ring. Like, hey, y'all, but what about this? What about this? Don't you disagree on this matter? And it's these distractions, a distraction from doing good and unifying together to being at complete odds with each other, because I don't exactly know why. I'm guessing for control by higher powers that are in the earth, not in the heavens. But I'm seeing that a lot lately, that when Jay and I aren't good, evil can win. And when our nation is not good with each other, others can win instead of us. Yeah. And so...
Well, and I think, too, just the change of your everyday life and doing things different, it takes a while for you to get back on the same path, because you've done everything the same for so long. You react the same, and when that's not there anymore,
you're stripped.
It changes, and we had to find our path back on that. And I think with each other and our family for sure. But it's definitely been, really honestly, been a blessing for our family. What's being here together so much for sure.
It's kind of taken some blinders off of my eyes as to the distractions that were happening for us not to be present here in our family, and in these everyone's saying these are the good old days.
Yeah.
So what else did we, cultivating courage happened.
Yeah, I guess first two, right after that, your parents came through and got to see them. They came from Colorado.
Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
Thank the Lord, because I have not been able to go to Baton Rouge since Christmas. Or were we there at New Year's? Between?
Don't remember for sure. Right around Christmas.
I don't even remember. But so I haven't been to Baton Rouge in 7 months. That's the longest it's ever been. But Southern Louisiana was a hot spot for the thing I told you a minute ago I wasn't going to talk about. And
so we've stayed away.
We have stayed away.
And your parents squeezed in kind of...
right before everything. Do you know another funny thing is Liza's birthday sleepover was the first week of March, and then everyone kind of went into their homes. And then when things in Texas felt a little safe to come on out was Cash's birthday, June 19th.
Wow.
And then as soon as Cash's birthday went out, then it all kind of was like, hey, you guys, we need to hunker down again. So if you go by my children's birthdays, we're going to be able to come out for Lily's on September 12th.
Let's hope that's not correct. So your parents came from Montrose, headed to Baton Rouge, and we got to see them and squeezed in a visit, and hopefully get to Baton Rouge here sometime pretty soon.
Oh, I hope so soon.
I do too. Ready to get there. And for us, we had those visitors. We were home for a while and really, really busy through that time. Mm-hmm. And then we decided, just out of the blue, which we've done a lot here lately, you and I went to Wimberley and stayed in a really neat place.
Yeah, Jay has now been in charge of finding our places that we stay in, because when I find them, I'm very cheap. And so they don't end up being the nicest of places. It hurts my feelings to see those big numbers and those big hidden fees. He's taken that role, found us, kind of felt like we needed a little bit of time away.
Yeah.
And so we found this wonderful little place in Wimberley, Texas, which is as pretty of scenery kind of as you can find in Texas. And so it's rolling hills. They call it hill country. And we stayed there for about, 5 or 6 days.
Yeah, I think 5 nights. And normally for us, about 3
is enough.
We'll about get it. And I'm for sure ready to go by then.
Yeah. So we're working with Lou Bluth. Her and her husband are farmers out of Chihuahua, Mexico. I think we said that on the last episode. We were to start with her the first day of our vacation, and she was like, do you want to start when y'all get back? And I said, for some reason, I just don't. I don't want to wait until the right time because we won't have the right time. And mentally, I was pretty dialed in. So we went to Wimberley, stayed at the house the entire week, and cooked every meal. Yeah. It was so special.
Yeah, it was a good time, and it allowed us to just focus on you and I instead of everything else that had kind of been interfering, and I think we needed it for sure.
I do too. I think we just stayed in the bed. You stayed on your Kindle. We Netflixed, and I stayed on my iPad working with art and stuff, and it was so therapeutic the whole week.
And it was really nice weather to be out all but one day we were there, and we spent a good time sitting out on the back porch and stuff, and a lot of deer and turkeys around, so it was neat to be there.
Yep, and I knew the place had a really neat vibe to it, and as we started looking around, we realized the owners were from, not that they were from, but they were definitely LSU fans. There was different memorabilia here and there.
Had a lot of references to it.
A lot of them, yeah. So I was like, this is so meant to be and neat. So if any of you guys are wanting to visit the Austin area, DM us because it is a really special place to stay. We can get y'all the VRBO number.
Yeah, it was probably one of the nicest places that we've ever stayed, and it was really great for a couple, not for a family for sure, but really great for a couple. And one deal you mentioned a while ago was cultivating courage. And I know we had talked about that you had this coming up, but everything changed, and kind of go over how you did that.
I thought everything would be over by May 30th, and it wasn't, and it's not. Whitney Larson out of Kansas is who hosted the event. She just did a beautiful job. But she clicked right into virtual mode immediately. So everyone kind of recorded their speeches. And then the girls that had signed up for the conference got links to the virtual conference. So I'd never really been a part of anything like that. But I just think it ended up going so much better than I thought. But my girlfriend Jen is with Heart of the Bison. Forgive us, you guys, if we have said any of this because we just can't really remember.
Well, I think we probably talked about that you were going to do all that, but I don't know how deep we got into it.
I cannot remember when Jen and I decided. But anyways, she called and wanted to partner up. The whole reason I'm saying that is as I'm telling it, I'm feeling really redundant.
Yeah.
And do you think so?
I think you're good.
Okay. And so she was like, hey, let's combine. She was one of the speakers at the event, and she said, let's combine. We kind of waded through that, teamed up for ours, and it was so, so good to do that with her for me, for my heart. I was so blessed by her and teaming up with her, and so thankful that she would trust me to, team up like that. But anyways, her handle on Instagram is Heart of the Bison, and that's because it's natural for a bison to head straight into the storm. They don't try to go around it. They don't cower. They don't stop. They just head down and go forward. That's what our talk was about, and it was just really beautiful, and I learned so much from our own talk and what God wanted to say through her and what God wanted to say through me, and I fully plan on hearing more from her and I soon.
But that deal started out, you were going to be on a stage for that, right? So that would have been your first time to get up and speak on a stage. And what do you think? That's still something you want to do?
Oh, for sure. I do know that I've migrated way more into writing. I've been writing every single day. It's a heart's desire of mine for sure. Definitely, I feel very comfortable speaking here on the podcast. Who knows how it will be on the stage because I haven't gotten a chance because we haven't gone back to gatherings like that. Right. But for right now, our podcast and writing are very neat ways that I can express kind of my creativity and what I'm wanting to share with others. But I'm open to the speaking. Right. What about you, Babe? Did you like it when we went and did that?
I did. It was good. I don't know if it's something that I personally would want to do all the time. I'm pretty good with just what we're doing right here.
You are. You were really, really, really good at it.
Thank you.
Like really good.
Thank you.
I don't think they realized how much value about what you were saying. I don't think they were I don't know if they were realizing that, because I just kept sitting there going, oh, that's another secret. That's another secret. And you were just giving them all away so freely. It was really nice.
That's all I knew to talk about.
Right.
So for us as a family, you've done that, and you've been writing a lot, and obviously you've written a lot about what we've done as a family. And
yeah.
And we've been together a lot, and we decided another little spur of the moment trip. We had one of our oldest that was like, let's go to the beach. Let's go to the beach.
Yes.
And they hadn't been anywhere, and it was kind of where we could go. And so we just found a spot out, and once again, VRBO. We went to Freeport, Texas, just a little hole in the wall. And you want to talk about old school and throwback. That's what I loved about it.
It was nice. I'd kind of lowered their expectations as much as I could. I teased them we were going to be staying in a tent near a pond. And so we'd all kind of gotten our minds right to when we got there. We were so pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Well, and two, I think all the time, being together.
Yeah.
And I know that time together on the beach, the kids had a phenomenal time together. I mean, you could tell.
It's like magic.
Just a step up from where we had been.
Yeah, we're heading to South Padre Island next week. The reason we go to the beach so much with our children is because it's like magic. Our 5 children, they can get out in the waves the radius of a hula hoop from each other and stay for like 7 hours.
And there's no issues.
None.
It's always good at the beach. Cross our fingers for next week.
I don't even care.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we really were spoiled already.
Yeah.
And probably due for a dust up from them. But they, for some reason, and they get along so well here. I don't know why we're surprised, but the beach takes their phones away and puts them face to face.
With each other and with us,
it's
for sure.
Just a dream. I don't even know what's happening. We just get in our chairs. This Freeport beach, you put your car on the beach. So we backed up the expedition and put a tent at the end. And then Jay and I could read in the wind, and it wasn't too cold, not too hot. And the kids never said they were bored. We ate
sandwiches for lunch and ate out one time. I bought them Whataburger the last night we were there, and pretty well cooked and ate at the house, and we're just together nonstop.
Yeah, the ice cream truck would come, and if they wanted to go up to the house, they could. And so it was a perfect little getaway.
And I say that to say, because for me, I know just over these last few months, like mine and Cash's relationship has gotten, I mean, it's gone way up. Mine, Liza's, has gotten better. And obviously, your oldest, Lil, and I mean, it's a huge step for us, being together. And she and I do a lot of stuff together and are really close. And then for you...
Same.
Yeah, same. And they just keep, I mean, it's just like in the last 3 months.
I know we always say that to you guys, but we just feel pretty humbled by it.
And I think, too, that our teenagers have kind of, as you always say, flipped a switch and have gotten...
Oh, yeah.
They have got some adult tendencies where before it was all...
You're laughing.
Yeah, and it's such a neat deal to watch, and it's neat to watch the interaction between all of us together when it's just us 4, really.
Yeah, for sure.
It really
We're
is.
very blessed. We need to stop whining and freaking out all the time. I'm sitting here thinking about all of it because we kind of had what we wanted to say today, and that's not one of them. And it should be, because Jay, he was just nearly knocked out of his truck 3 or 4 different times by the behavior of one of our oldest. Just
in a positive way.
In a positive, just kind.
A lot of humility.
Yeah. There's something we didn't know if we would ever see. And we know we're not silly. I mean, we're not naive. We know that we're not going to see things positively happen till they mature way beyond this point.
Yeah.
So we know we're planting seeds for when they're a lot older, but for things to be happening right now, what a blessing.
It has. It's been fun. And then you think about some of the things that we've been through and some of the behavior we've had in that same time, and then for them to step up and be like a young adult, it sure is fun.
Yeah, they're so resilient.
Yeah, they really are. It really is. So, babe, you had a big one here a few days ago.
Oh, yeah. I turned 40. It wasn't a few days ago, was it?
It hadn't been
10 days.
It hadn't been too long.
Something I was really looking forward to, and I told Jay, I didn't feel like I was turning it. I felt like I was winning it. Like, I feel like I got there. Things have felt so different.
We've talked about it for 6 months.
We have.
And
we talked about you being 50.
For a long time.
Yeah, those big round numbers.
Yeah, they're big ones for sure.
I wonder why, though, huh?
I don't know.
Something psychological about the round numbers.
Yeah. But I think for 40 and where you are and the person you are, I don't see that it could get any better.
You're so sweet. Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
I really appreciate it.
In between all that, when we were coming up to the lead up to the birthday, and on birthday day, you had a little
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have to know also, I'm the baby of the family, spoiled rotten when it comes to birthdays. I mean, I am a complete, I just can't even be around me.
Right.
When my birthdays come around, nothing's ever going to be good enough. And birthdays always make me so happy and so blue all at the same time, if that makes sense. In my 39th year of living, I had some huge relationships change to where they weren't the same as they were. So my number ones weren't anymore. Yeah. They'd kind of moved on to other friendships, and then I had really this year poured into 3 friendships that I know mostly online in Instagram. One's in Durango, one's in Utah, and one's in Oklahoma. We personally know Ashley in Oklahoma, but I pour into her every day. Over online. She doesn't live down the street. It has to be over Instagram or via text or call or, I had poured into those 3 relationships. And then the night before my birthday realized they're not just down the road. No. And I get really hard on myself, and I'm an imagery person, so I just kept picturing my kids going, why don't you have... It's just so dumb when you hear the ending, you guys. I just pictured my kids going, why don't you have any friends? And I was feeling alone. Satan was making me feel like a loser, a failure, alone, uninvited, undesired.
And I'm completely blown away because I don't see this at all.
Well, you can tell your part in a second as to why you felt so blown away, because your world was...
Well, but even before that, I mean, I know I was in a fantasy world, but I'm just saying
No, not a fantasy world. I'm just saying you knew that y'all were planning something is what I mean.
Right.
And so the night before my birthday, I hadn't had a panic attack in like 40 days. And I just kept walking around going... I'm not going to get too big for my britches. Like, I know one's going to come where I'm going to have it and we're going to go on. Because I usually don't make a month without one. Yeah. And so anyways, the night before my birthday, perfect time to have one. So we get in the Jeep. Have we gone somewhere?
No, I don't remember what we did.
Or are we just sitting in the Jeep?
It's like we just rode around or we're going to or something.
We just rode around. And so we get back, and anyways, it hits, and it's a doozy. And the only words I can kind of get to him are, I don't have any friends. And he just kept getting so tickled, which I should have known. That should have been my number one.
Yeah.
And then you can tell.
Well, what I meant a while ago was you have so many friends and so many people that contacted you and did all that were contacting me to do stuff for you. It was just
I think they were all contacting you.
Honestly, at first I didn't really think you were even serious till you got serious, and I knew that it was. So, but to add to the story, we had, I think 2 years ago, we were driving to my sister's, and you go right by DFW Airport, And we're driving, and I said, all right, if we turned into the airport today and we could go anywhere we wanted to go at the count of 3, where would you go? And so I counted 3, and we both said Jackson Hole, Wyoming. So through everything, we were going to take a trip for your birthday, and anyway, talked about a lot of places and did a lot of things, and ultimately decided we wanted to go to Jackson Hole.
Yeah.
So, she had that we're looking forward to, and torn up about not having friends. And honestly, I had like 6 people call for address. Where are y'all eating lunch? I want to send flowers. Can we do this? Can we come and do this? And so I really don't understand
how my head works.
How her head works. But I mean, I'm trying to be there for her, but at the same time, I've got this really big surprise coming. So we go to Jackson Hole. She's still really, honestly, you're down in the mouth. I would say the whole day.
No, tell them what I was really doing the day before.
Besides having a panic attack?
With Greta.
Oh. So the day before we're going on the trip, I forgot this, but I come home thinking she's going to be packing and everything ready, and she's got my hair trim, my hair shaver, run out the window, and she's shaving our old dog just sitting there on the ground, just going back and forth. I thought, boy, this is a sad program right here. And so this is at 7 o'clock at night, and so I think, well, she'll get up and finish shaving the dog, and she'll come pack.
And I do also want to say, that my birthday, like that Wednesday, which was 2 days before shaving the dog, was honestly one of my favorite days of my whole life. Like, it was just perfect. Yep. So I have to say that. Yeah. It's just, I'm a big fat baby. Keep going.
So I think she's going to finish the dog, and then she's going to start packing, because by now it's 8:30 at night. Well, the next thing I look up, she's sitting in the recliner with it fully stretched out with a blanket up to her chin, getting ready to go to sleep in the chair. And so I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But the next day, she finally gets in there, and she gets packed, and we get headed out to Jackson Hole. And she's still kind of down in the mouth, but you're working on some of your graphic and your writing.
Oh, yeah, on the plane.
Yeah, and so she writes this graphic, and she's working on it and keeps showing me little bits and pieces of it, so I'll let you tell that part.
Well, nothing was coming. We were on the flight for like 2 hours, I think for an hour and a half, which is not a long time working on my iPad, but to me it was, because nothing was going right. Finally, all of a sudden, something started clicking, and I was like, well, I like that. Well, I like this. Let's try this. And it just all of a sudden occurred on my iPad. And I was beaming. I was grinning from ear to ear, and I couldn't wait to show you, and I couldn't wait to send it to Lily. And the words on the graphic were, I just can't even. I can't even. I'm not even.
Bear in mind, this is a person with no friend.
I'm not even going to be able to. I already know what our next part is. I'm not even going to make it through that part. Anyways, the dumb graphic says, "Hold tight, someone's coming."
That leads us to the rest of this story. Is that we're on the plane, and we get there, and we get to Jackson Hole, and we walk around town, and we get to our condo, and we're in there, and she's like, well, I want to go take a nap. Well, I had a surprise planned for her, and I'm like, no, I've got something coming to deliver, and I kind of point at the table, and she's thinking maybe flowers, and so she kind of
definitely flowers.
Flops down on the couch and kind of upset with me a little bit. And
I don't think I was upset with you. I didn't feel good. Yeah. We went and ate, and I hadn't eaten real food in like 6 weeks, chocolate is what I want to say. Good chocolate. We had stopped by a coffee shop and got this huge like ganache mousse, and so got back to the place and just did not feel good.
Right.
I wasn't frustrated with you.
There's a knock at the door.
I just don't have any friends.
And so, as she mentioned, she has no friends, but she had cultivated these 3 friends on Instagram, and one of them I'm friends with. And so I had been talking to her for several months, trying to work out getting these girls there. Well, these 3 girls, her besties, I can hear them walking up the sidewalk out there, and she thinks she's going to the door for flowers, and she's
I
actually...
have to tell you why it's not them. Is one, Ashley lives 3 hours from here, so there's no reason.
She's 18, 19 hours from Jacksonville.
Yeah, there's no reason Ashley would drive 18 or 19 when she lives 3 from me.
Yeah.
B was coming on Tuesday, so there's no way she's at the door. And there's absolutely 0% possibility Cam's at the door because she's in hay season.
And she's 12 hours away.
And also had taken a week off to go to Minnesota. And so there was absolutely no possible way the 3 could be standing there. Just none.
And so Cam and I had been working on setting this up, and I told her, I said, just be ready. I said, I don't know if she'll pass out, if she'll pee on the floor, or if she'll attack you. I'm just telling you, be ready for whatever happens. And so the doorbell rings, and she's like, are you going to get that? And I'm like, no, you get it. It's your surprise. And so she gets up and goes to the door, and I got the video, all of it. And it made for the whole thing. But say again what your graphic said.
So, yes, it said, hold tight, someone's coming, and I couldn't wait to minister with it. And meanwhile, it was from God to me. It was a note. It was a note to me.
So you're no friends. One driven 19 hours, and one 3 or 4, and one 12 to surprise you and spend the weekend with you.
Yep. Opened the door, and there were my 3 girls. I cannot even... I'm having to just even put it out of my mind right now, or I'll just lay down on this couch. I haven't even really been able to fully process it because it means so much to me. Cam had not really been speaking to me the past few weeks because she didn't want to ruin the surprise. And kind of the same with Ash and B. It was just a lot. Like, it was just... the nicest. I thought we were done with that. Like, I thought 30, you get to have sleepovers and you get to have your friends, your girlfriends. But 40, that's over. You don't get to have your friends drive across the nation for you. Even after I see them and we do our insane freak out and everything, I still thought, this is welcome to my head, I still thought that they were going to turn around and go to their car. I thought that was it. Like, it was going to be a surprise, and then they had to go. And so I kept going, do you get to stay? Do you get to stay? And so finally they said they're staying the whole time. And it was just the nicest weekend. B and Cam stayed in the same room, so they got to grow their relationship so much. You and B got to spend so much time together. You and Cam did. And for my friends to know and love you means so much to me. It's just something I'll never, ever, ever forget, and I'll never question, like, if I have friends. Because Satan was trying to sit me down in the mud and call me a loser.
Yeah.
And now I know what was being...
And he got away with it for a couple of days.
He did, and I know what was happening in reality as he was trying to feed me that lie. And so I'll make sure to keep matching up the truth, because we always kind of make up these things that are happening, and they're not happening at all.
Well, and for me, I'm watching somebody I love have a panic attack.
Yeah.
Over.
You did nothing. You did nothing.
I was holding back for the surprise.
God, you are the strongest person I know. Because everyone I know is like, can't wait till the actual birthday to give a present, or can't keep a secret, or don't tell anyone this, but, you know, and you watched your wife crumble into a million pathetic pieces and still held strong.
Well, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
Because it would have sure cured things.
When you patted me on my shoulder and said, "They're there," and giggled.
Oh, I knew the good stuff was coming, but it was a tough time, and I'm glad it's over. And it was tough to go through that with you, and it was tough to keep the surprise.
Yeah.
And it was tough for all of us, especially Cam and I talked about it a lot, and there were several times I nearly said stuff that would have messed it up or clued you in. And I even asked you one night, have you been talking to Kim?
Yes.
And I knew, too, what's funny is that I knew that you would want to dress up if they were all there. And I knew you probably wouldn't take as much if it was just us.
I know.
And so Kim and I were talking. I said, you got to figure out how to get her to take the right clothes. And so Kim did an excellent job of laying all that out to get you to take clothes.
She's a big fat liar, too.
As you told them all when they came in the door.
Yes. The level of cool that I am not for y'all to even do that, I just can't in my head, versus who I must be for you to drive across the country, then none of that even matches whatsoever. No, so it's just so humbling, so humbling.
And for Ash, as 2 little ones, she brought those, plus her sister.
And her 2 little girls.
Yeah, and drove 19 hours.
Yeah, with a bad back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
that's good stuff.
That's many crowns in heaven.
It is that. So maybe you had a quote, and I didn't catch who you said who that was. Do you want to read it or do you want me to read it?
Do you know where I heard it? You're going to laugh. We're binge watching Madam Secretary now on Netflix. It's a really good show. It's with Taylor Leone and I forget his name, but she's the secretary. What is it? Madam
Secretary of State.
Is that what you say?
Yep.
The White House. And anyways, you can read it, but it's a quote by Gandhi that her husband just said it the other night in passing, and I was like, holy smokes, that is so good for right now.
So it reads, friendship that insists upon agreement on all matters is not worth the name. Friendship, to be real, must ever sustain the weight of the honest differences, however sharp they be.
I want to dedicate this one to my best friend since 9th grade, Colleen. I talk about her so much. We call her Lean on here. And I want to dedicate that one to her. She and I have been best friends since 9th grade. Although we don't get to talk very much at all or see each other even less. We see each other every 5 or 6 years. We are as different as you possibly can get.
Yeah.
And she's still going to let me lay my head on her lap, and she's going to play with my hair for 2 hours while we watch a movie. And she's going to cry with me, and she's going to send me flowers, and she's going to love on me as hard as she can love on anyone, fully knowing I don't have secrets from her. Yeah. She fully knows my differences, and I fully know hers. And she welcomed Jay and I into her home this past year. It was just so special. She teaches me so much about this quote and about friendship, for especially what's going on in the world, that we can almost be polar opposite on all matters and still love outweighs all of it. And that's what she teaches me all the time.
Well, and I think for her, she is a special person to do that, and she's a special person on top of that. I mean, she really is a unique person for that and a lot of other reasons, for sure.
For sure.
You did good there.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't me.
No, that's for sure.
God walked her into my English class in 9th grade. So I want us to pay attention not only for looking for those people to bring into your inner circle, but to be those people is what I mean the most, is if we can practice more and more each day, continuing to embrace and continuing to love people that don't share our same beliefs. I mean, this is what we're called to do. Yeah. Not love the people that are just like you or that have the same sense of humor as you.
Not the easy.
Yeah, not the easy. Yeah. Not that loving lean is hard. Yeah. Loving lean is easy. But when you are finding these new relationships, it is hard to get past these giant polar opposite belief systems that you have with each other. But I feel like we're either put into category A, category B on all matters, and that's just not true. There's thousands of different ways that you can feel about a lot of topics. There are a lot of topics that you can only feel 2 ways. I understand that. There's really only 2 ways you can feel about certain things. But on all other matters, you have to really just take a step back and see the bigger picture, because lately, if I say that I don't believe in this, well, then someone else hears me and fills in 49 other blanks. And that's not correct. You don't know anything about my life by that one sentence I just said. And that's not to shame that person. That is for us to realize not to do it to others. Not if you don't want your 49 blanks to be filled in by ignorance, don't do it to others. Don't fill in their blanks for them. And I feel like God tells us whatever grace we are to give others is the grace that we are to expect. Whatever forgiveness we give to others is the forgiveness that we're going to receive. And I just want us to open our minds a lot bigger to not assume that we know about someone else when we really don't.
Yeah, and I would say to that, don't take the easy road, because the easy thing to do is to ignore it. If you don't agree, is to ignore it and just go on.
Yeah.
Ignore them, go do what you do and go on. And I would say just don't always take the easy road, even if you don't believe. So I think that's...
You're exactly right. And how much nicer will it feel to do the right thing?
Yeah. At least listen anyway. Be open to it for sure.
And trying to get back to love. And using all of this discomfort and this uneasiness as a call to run to the Lord as fast as you can to ask for His direction, because the directions we're being given by Facebook or the media or all of these different directions that we're being given, we can't rely on them. It's proven over and over and over that we can't rely on anything we're being told by the world.
No.
Praying and hoping that we are a people that go to the Father and ask for the direction.
Yeah. Well, and I think, too, when you talk about everything that's going on, everybody says, it's back to the old times. I think you have to do that not only with your family, but with all your relationships, too. Be open to people coming to you or, being around them or accepting them the way they are if they live right down the street or wherever they are.
Right. Brene Brown the other day, she said, there's a difference in feeling shame and being shamed. And feeling shame causes a difference within you. You kind of dig deep, find out what you're made of, decide, do I want to continue to feel this way, or do I want to make a change and do something about it? Being shamed turns you against someone with your big dukes, and now you're fighting someone. You're not thinking of inner growth. You're not thinking of any of that. And you're so distracted from doing what's right by conflict. So my mom has told me my whole life is you're not going to fight someone into believing the way that you do. It's never going to happen. I had a friend reach out to me really frustrated about something that's going on in our world right now. In came text after text after text, and you could tell he was really angry. Well, his anger was almost angering me because I didn't feel the same way. And so I had so many things that I wanted to text back, but I just kept letting it happen. Like I could feel him spiraling out of control. And so I just thought, let me see where he ends up. Yeah. And you could tell. And there's a quote, do not react, do respond. And so I would say, yeah, I hear ya, or yeah, I hear ya. Something neutral. I would text that. And he kept texting, and you could see him going through all the different stages of anger. And then he kind of calmed down, and then he found himself in a different spot, and then he found himself in a different spot. And so finally at the end, I said, keep going. You're doing so good. You're going to get there. And he sent some gif, like dying laughing. Yeah. And it was so loud to me that if I'd have gone at him in the very beginning and been like, that's not right, he'd have stopped. He'd have stopped his process, and he would have turned about face to me. Yeah. And this would have been a thing between he and I.
Yeah, he'd still be stuck at the start.
Yes. Yeah. And so it was a really neat example God gave to me about, watch this. Watch what he can do when you stand near him and let him do it for himself. And I'm not saying it always can happen, but what I'm saying is, if I would have interjected my asinine ideas to him at that moment because I was triggered and angry, he wouldn't have gotten there. And so what I feel like is we can offer each other is support and not always correction.
Well, and on the other side of that, even agreeing, whether you agreed or not, spurs on that negativity. It's like, you're agreeing, so I'm going to just keep piling it on. That here's my next point.
Yes.
And, you don't take that route either.
I do think he could feel... I think he could feel that I wasn't jumping in with him and going crazy with him.
But I'm saying as a person.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing with you. Yeah. I'm absolutely meaning he could read between the lines and realize that I was just trying to stay calm and not agree with him, but not say what he knew I wanted to say. So it was a really neat example to me to see that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a time where you get a lot of that stuff on an everyday basis. You hear it and see it, and from friends and everywhere.
You can treat it as practice for sure.
That is for
sure.
So
we see that with me and you when we're trying to parent the kids. If one of yours is doing something and you're doing a great job, kind of staying on them and being their dad when they need it most, and disciplining and correcting, and then I'm behind you and I start nagging about it. You turn away from the situation that you need to be plugged into, and now you're arguing with me. So I create such a huge distraction for something that was good. And that's something that we need to learn how to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And shut up and walk off. You're freaking people out. Yeah, just shut up and get out of the way. And so it's been really neat at the age of 40 to kind of step back, study the situations instead of put my hot self right in the center of all of them.
Right.
It's been kind of fun.
Well, you mentioned Bob Goff there, and he's got a new book.
Yeah, he has a new book. It's called Dream Big, and it just came out June 23rd. I have it on Audible because he has a really good reading voice, and it is spectacular. You guys have got to grab it.
And then tell us about your other book deal that our friend that's involved in the same type of stuff we are, the podcast that you've been working with.
Yes, Summer Butler. She has Blended. It's a blended family workbook that you can work through for, I want to say, 6 weeks. And so we're doing her book launch right now with about 26 women. We're all going through it together and doing a Zoom on every Wednesday night. It's something you'll be seeing on our Instagram and Facebook a lot more soon as the book is it's in pre-order right now. And then as soon as we can start getting hard copies out, I really do want to be pushing it to you guys with Blended Families, because it's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer. She has an incredible story, and she has an incredible direct line to the Father that I think is going to be so helpful for women that have gotten remarried and stepped into blended families, and men.
Yeah.
That is a vulnerable space for a marriage. And I think, what did we say, divorce rate for remarried?
Yeah, a lot.
It's so much. It's so much. So her mission, I always say my intense mission is just to help anyone. Do you need help? Please let me help you. And hers is to save blended families. So. Well,
and she's worked hard at learning everything that she's talking about, for sure. Yeah,
she has.
I think it'll be something interesting to read, for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, I want you and I, as soon as I get the hard copy, I'll get you one, and then we can go through it together.
And when talking about blended families and our blended family, we had, I guess really for the first time, had one of the oldest ones went with a friend to the beach and was gone a week. Of course, we weren't all the rest of us here all together the whole time, but we were a lot, and she was gone, and she's kind of the linchpin for everything for us.
Yes, she is.
And so we missed her being gone, but she came back, and being the super kid she is, she had gotten some gifts for the rest of them, and it caused a little blow up that led to some pretty great things for us. It was pretty hard times and a lot of anger, all the way around, and really not a situation we wanted to be in, but a situation we had to be in.
Yeah, she had bought T-shirts for all of the kids. Her and her stepbrother had this faux feud going on because she didn't take him to the beach with her. It was just a joke, but he was laying it on thick. So he was texting her like, I'm not talking to you, just kind of pretending to be mad. Well, when she got home, she tried to give him his T-shirt that she had bought him, and he was still ugly because he was still kind of being silly, of course, being silly and flirty with her. She took it. He went too far. He's just a boy. He went too far, and she got really upset. And I was an idiot. Hadn't seen her for a week, and her daddy ran her by, so I was only seeing her for a few moments. And they were going out to her grandmother's. So the few moments that I got to spend with her after being away from her for a week, which I don't ever do, she was upset and crying. Yeah. Cue melodrama, and I come in and I just rip my stepson a new one. It was awful, completely immature on my part and awful. And of course, it tried to turn, it just tried to turn into something even worse. No. But God said, watch this, step back and watch this, because as soon as I found my feet, I went immediately to him and just begged him to undo what I had done. And he said, hold my drink and watch this. When my stepson got home from being with Jay on the farm, we sat on the floor of the laundry room and I painted my toes, and we were able to have, in 3 years, our very first fight we've ever had, he and I. And on that floor, able to have our first reconciliation, which, just like that friendship quote, I mean, relationships can't be surface. It has to involve all different types of emotions to be real. He and I just never felt comfortable to discipline him, be ugly to him about anything, correct him, nothing. And still don't my stepdaughter. I just don't. I think of them so highly. I just don't want to upset that balance. He and I were able to sit on that floor and have a very real and very good conversation with each other and apologize to each other. And it was just hilarious what the enemy tried to do in our family versus what occurred in our family. Yeah. And I was really proud of the way we all figured it out.
Well,
Not at first.
It was like a bomb.
It was a bomb.
Dropped off for about 6 or 7 hours or a little longer.
It wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Y'all didn't go to the farm that long. So I'd say like 2 or 3 hours. Yeah. What was intended for awful, God turned for good. And I feel like if you hand your mess over and be like, look, I really got in the way and I really messed up and I need you to fix this and I need you to heal this damage and this destruction. It really came through for us that day.
In a big way.
In a big way.
Yeah, it changed a lot of things.
Yeah. So
it took good and made it better.
Well, and I can hear the way he speaks to me, and I can hear the way my stepdaughter speaks to me. And it doesn't sound like it has ever. Yeah. If there's a love in it, it's funny. We got to talk about some real issues on that floor. I told him that day, I said, I didn't know until I was screaming at you that I truly, truly loved you. I don't know if I knew until then, because I have been fearful to even be real with you because I don't want to lose what we've built. Yeah. But I knew as soon as I found myself being my true, real self with you and showing real emotions that I do love you. I love you so much. And I told him, if Lily had done to you what you did to her, I would be ripping her a new one because I love her. And she's fine. We're going to be fine. We're going to come right back to each other. There's that confidence. And so I told him, I said, I know it didn't feel good and I know it sucked, but I just want you to know that I love you so much. Yeah. And like we went to Wyoming and I texted him. I said, I've never missed you this much in 3 years. Never. I wanted to know what he was doing. I'm wanting to know when I'm going to see him again. I've never felt that way before. So we've been able to make huge strides in the explosions.
Yeah. Big deal for sure. And another big deal for us coming back from Wyoming is our sweet corn. Mm-hmm. And that's a big family deal for us. We plant a little bit of sweet corn, and the kids pick it. We set up on the side of the road and sell it, and it's been some feuds over it and been some issues, but it's a really...
Between?
Go ahead.
Between who?
All of us, I would say. It's very hot.
I was going to say, it's so hot.
It's time consuming, and it's something totally different dealing with with people and making them deal with people and trying to get everybody to pull their weight and do a certain thing and get on a schedule. It's just it's a tricky time, but it's definitely a good learning experience for them. So we came home from Wyoming, got in late that night, and really needed to have been picking sweet corn 3 or 4 days before that, but we started the next morning, started picking twice a day, and kind of had them right in the middle of it. Yeah.
Sweet corn is officially my least favorite weekend of the year. And one of my best friends, Ashley in Oklahoma, she's the one that came to Wyoming. Anytime I call her with trials, she says, let's celebrate, because we're going to grow through them, and it's going to ultimately grow us. So I knew as soon as I was trying to push back against this weekend, I just kept going, let's celebrate. And you kept going, everything okay? Because I was just trying to stay so surface and positive instead of angry and saying the F word. And for me was a win, because I used it as a match. Like, I've kind of gone through this 2 times before, or 3? 3. I've gone through this 3 times before and have failed miserably, just loathed the entire time. I equate it to when we play basketball. Jay gets this game face on, and he turns into this other person that I don't like and I don't respect, and I'm just teasing. I don't like him, though, because he's always on the other team, and it's really ugly. Like, he plays to win, and it gets really ugly. Like, fun goes out the window. That's sweet corn. Jay will bull over whoever he needs to get a crop out of the field. So everyone's heading to the lake, and we're heading to run a sweet corn operation, and
it's not about us or anything economic for us. It's all kids. About for our kids to make a little money and to teach them to get out and work in the heat and do something different and be able to go when it's time to go.
Yes. And
for me, it is anyway.
The kids are so hot and so cranky, and you just stay on them, like, buck up and let's go. And I'm just like, please, can we just stop this? This is crazy. But it's definitely character building. I'm just past that character building phase myself. I just want to break.
You know, and there's short corn, sweet corn short, and a tall corn, and there she is over hiding in the tall corn.
No, but I counted a win, babe. I mean it. I thought it went so good. Lily loves standing on the side of the road doing that. Yeah. Henley's really good at walking up to the customer. He would meet the customer at the thing. Hartley and Liza are very good at counting their money.
And asking how much it is.
Cash has not gotten good at anything just yet.
He's good at the air conditioner.
He's good at, what is he good at?
In spurts, he's good at all of it.
He's just not good just yet. It's okay. He'll get there. He just turned 8. He just does not like being hot. Holy smokes with him, his work ethic. But it's okay. We'll fix it.
We'll get there sometime.
Yeah, hopefully he grew through this past weekend. But
I think
they did a really good job, and I was really glad. It's like at 40, I treat these little things as matches, and I get really competitive. Like, can I win this one, or am I going to lose this one? I feel like I won it, and I was excited. So we should go listen to music now and celebrate.
Think we should.
You want to?
And I think I wanted to say, too, happy late birthday.
Thanks.
And I'm proud of the 40-year-old you are and how much you've grown since I've known you in your 30s.
Thank you.
And look forward to what the next 10 look like.
I really like it. If y'all are in your 20s or 30s, just wait. Like, it's really, really nice. I can't even explain it. It's just really nice little season where you don't really care how big your thighs are anymore. And you really don't care if someone picks another friend instead of you. Well, I did. I guess I did. What I mean is...
What you mean? Let me hear it.
What I mean is, if someone chooses another group of friends, you're not like, you don't feel left out. I did care that I didn't have my Durango and Utah and Oklahoma friends in town.
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
What I mean is you don't care if you're not liked.
Yeah, I get it. It gets even better after that, so.
The things that you don't care as much about is so freeing. It's been really, really nice on my anxiety.
And I think it'll just get better.
And it was like at 40, it just flipped a switch. I could feel it. I could feel the psychology of it or the emotional part of it. I could just see it flip a switch.
I guess all that was the build up to the switch.
You think so? Because it's always like it brings you right to the end of your rope. Yep. You think that's what Tuesday night was?
I'm going with that for sure.
I bet so.
Well, babe, as the song says, the road goes on forever.
Did you forget it?
And the party never ends. I didn't forget it. I thought you were going to say something.
What was I going to say?
I don't know.
Do I say something?
No, just I love you.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too. That's our ending.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Bye. I love you.
Bye. I love you too.
We sure appreciate y'all listening today. If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can search for us, Moving On Podcast. That's 3 words. On Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We would love to hear from you. With ways you're figuring out how to drop the ropes in each of your own lives, and even ways that you're not. Hell, that's just as entertaining to us. See you in a couple of weeks.